Oh, but you know what we don't have?
What don't we have?
A camera. Like for us. Hold on a sec. Right? I don't see us.
Do the video capture.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Do we need more lights now, or do you like this lighting?
I don't know. It's just all a mess now. But okay. Am I like in frame there? Okay. Here, come over here. Oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine. All right. Yeah. Whenever you have it. Okay. Oh, you don't need yours up there. But here.
But I was going to see when I'm on frame. Oh God, no! It's behind. It's behind. You got to wait.
Right. Sorry. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
We're there.
Hey! Hey, everybody. All right. So, sorry about that.
All right, to the audience in the room, we are live streaming. We are live.
Woo! And then to everybody at home, let's take a look at some people who are here. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
The famous Bib is here.
I have no idea who's in frame or not, and like also.
There we go. There we go. See, there we go. We made it.
Also, like you don't actually have to stand here or anything.
Oh, I thought I was being helpful, but if I'm not, then I will.
No, you can sit wherever you want. I mean, I'm sure people at home will be sad that you're not on camera, but like honestly, that's what they get for not being here in person, which several of us are. So as we mentioned, Biblaridion is here. It's a little nerve-wracking since Biblaridion is technically my boss, and so I know he's always watching, but now he's actually sitting there watching. It's terrifying. But we also have Sally Caves here, who's going to present tomorrow, and then some longtime watchers. We have Jonathan. Yes, we have Jake. We have Mateus. How did I do?
Yeah, it's pretty decent. For your doing, it's okay.
We have Luke or Rugby, and I'm so sorry. It's McCain, isn't it? It's McCain. Yeah, exactly. All right, and we have Miles and we have Remy, and that's who we have at the moment. There might be some more surprises as we go along. So.
I'm always here. That's not interesting.
Oh yeah, Jesse's here. So I thought that today, since obviously there are people here and it's a little bit different.
Oh wait, there we go. Yeah.
We'll start off.
Getting everyone in. Hey David, do you want to come? Done. Okay, we got it for real.
Okay, so I thought that we'd start off with the poll as usual, and maybe I'll continue work on the orthography, but I figured since other people are going to be here, we might do some other stuff as well. So the first thing that I need to do is actually look at the poll, and I hope that the winner was super clear. Oh, you know what we should do? Oh, we should, can I open a new window? Can I do that?
Why can't you?
New window.
See what happens.
All right. Here we go. And then, all right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So let's, by the way, for the people that are new in the room especially. So, all right. So I'm really, it's for the benefit of one person at the moment. But Sally, so what we do every Thursday.
My first time, okay?
I know. So, Jessie introduced it in her talk that you saw beforehand, but what we do here at LangTime Studio is Jessie and I create a new language, right? And we stream every Thursday for 2 hours. Because of the trip, we're doing it on a Friday. And it's always at this time. And we literally start with nothing. Jessie didn't even know what we were creating a language for the very first episode. And we just work for 2 hours, get as far as we can, come back to it the next week. So we have a Patreon, and our patrons, some of whom are here, we put a poll question to them every week. So we decide on something, we get to a point, we give the poll question to them, we see what the results of the poll are, and then the language changes as a result. So for this language at the moment, we're coming up with the orthography. And so this is what this week's poll was about.
It is close.
It's close. Okay, good. Jesse's coming up with the results. All right. So this is, I don't even know quite how to describe this writing system because like there are initial consonants that change due to mutations. Then there's a VC abugida system, and we were trying to figure out what do we do when two vowels come next to each other, because this can happen with our phonology. And we came up with 3 different options. So option number 1 was to do the entire full vowel. So this would be the syllable OQ. Oh. This would be like, all right, if you're going to put another vowel in front of it, like here, this is the full vowel A, the full vowel E, the full vowel O, because you can get doubles, and then the full vowel U. So that was option A. Option B was...
By the way, I'm pretty sure everybody hated option A.
Okay.
0 votes.
Okay, 0 votes for option A. I did mention, and I was hoping that this would get a few more votes, this is actually what Devanagari does. So like, if it so happens that 2 vowels come next to each other, you just write the full thing, and it goes just fine. But anyway, all right, so option A is out. All right, option B, it's coming down to be option B and C. I wonder if, should I zoom in a little bit? Oh, yeah. Option B was the vowel diacritic attached to a stick. So previously, we had made a decision where our letter O, which is...
it's the first on the left.
Yeah.
Because that's off.
Yeah, but it's modified with a Q. I was hoping to show the whole thing.
Okay.
This is how we do it. The first part here, this is the letter U, so U, right? And it's kind of like this 3 symbol that has a little dipsy doodle underneath it, right?
Dipsy doodle?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is actually based on an image of a mouse. So this is kind of like the mouse doing this, and that's the mouse's tail right there. So we decided that for our letter O, we were going to put a short diacritic in front of it. It's basically just a line, and then after it is a little mini version of, I think it's the A. Is it the A? I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's got this line, and then it's got like the A diacritic here. In other words, it's saying this is a lowered version of U, and that's how we were going to write O. All right, so.
For the people at home, I'm trying to circle with the cursor what you're pointing at for the live audience.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, so for option B, what we were going to say, since we introduced this convention of having the stick, why don't we use the stick? And so for option B, we were going to say like, all right, let's just use the stick and add the vowel diacritics to it. What I realized too late with this option is like, oh duh, if you already have the stick here, you could just combine them. And so this isn't what it would really look like. It would look like below.
No way.
Yeah, here we go. So this is what it would look like in front of it. So you see we have the O diacritic on top with the little doot-doot, and then underneath you have the different vowel diacritics. And this, of course, is a double O, right? It just connects at the bottom. And then the U with the little tail. And so that's how you would do those. So that was option B. Mm-hmm. Option C
was the little dootsy doos.
Oh yeah, option C was diacritics.
And we're going to put that up because our
so
camera.
This is straight up diacritics, because I found like you could actually get different shapes for each of these things with diacritics. And so the ah one would look like essentially like a backward C or an open O. An O would look like a forward C, then the E would look like a little V. It's the top of that M shape here. And then the U would end up looking like a circle, because it's kind of like you just do this and then it just turns into a circle. All right, so we've already noted that option A lost. So how close is it between B and C?
Well, and also to people at home noting how quiet the chat is. Yeah, it's because they're right here.
Feel free to log in on your phone.
Chat's going great for us.
But I didn't say anything. Oh, no. This poll happened over the previous week. So we're going to present the results. Also, if you do log into YouTube, though, be sure you turn the volume down. Otherwise, it's going to be an echo effect.
And people are now logging into their phones, so chat, it may get real unquiet soon.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so B and C, there was a clear winner at one level. The next level, they were tied, and then at the top level, it reversed, which made it close.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was not going to be close.
Okay.
And so there was a preference. However, that opening level of votes was strong enough to maintain its hold, and B is our winner.
Yes! Oh, you chose right. Oh, thank goodness.
It was But it was close, because by the time you got to the top, C was the winner.
All right. Okay. So then this is what it's going to be. I love this. So we created the stick diacritic for O, right? And it's basically, this is kind of like the Chekhov cannon thing. It's like if you're going to put the damn thing on the stage, you better fire it by the second act. If you've got one stick diacritic, you might as well do it again. And this
Do
is
a
the perfect
second stick.
opportunity. Yeah. So anyway. All right, fantastic. So yeah, this is how we usually start the stream out, Sally. We discuss, the previous poll, and then usually we
It's
go.
not how we usually start, to be fair.
Listen, we start on time every week. It's
Where's
like clockwork.
Alex's office?
Alex's office is over there. Why?
The whole tub we could throw. I only have 6 otherwise. To celebrate?
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, she's gonna be here. She's gonna be here.
What time zone is it in?
It's usually in California's time zone, so it's usually 2 p.m.
So it's always at this time?
But it's at this time, exactly.
Yeah, so for you it would always be at 5.
Yeah, 5 p.m. on Thursdays.
For Matei stays up until midnight.
It's 11 to 1, yeah.
There we go. And then you're
Yeah.
an hour before that,
10
right?
to 12.
Yeah,
Okay, 10 to 12.
earlier, yeah.
But like 11 to 1, that's the perfect time to be awake.
Exactly, I would stay up anyway. So
Six in the
Oh,
morning?
I'm 6 till 8 in the morning, and so.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Suffrage? Yeah. Oh, wow, sorry.
Take your teas away then.
Anyway, so what we do is we finish the poll and then we put it in. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just creating the orthography. And so I will just continue doing that.
Now
Oh, I
it's
need
gonna
my...
be silent. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a little nap.
Oh, but I do want to show people on the screen since we have them here.
Really do that.
We got our Kopikon t-shirts in. I have no idea if these are going to be in frame, but
I'll tell you
yeah.
when you get there.
Oh, I'm sure it's there. And then the back has everybody presenting.
There we go, yes.
Yeah, all
I
right.
made it on.
Nice. But I was going over here because I was going to grab my... Oh, we could also
Go back to the first before we chat or left.
but I was
Wait, was that E3?
Everybody, something like that, right?
Yeah, I was going to grab my notebook. This is where I write everything.
We should.
I do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do. But
By the way, if you want to see where the real...
Oh, that's the notebook.
Yeah, and that was where, this is where I realized as I was doing this one, I was like, oh no, the sticks should obviously connect, and so then I did that. I'm so grateful to be one. You guys did the right thing. And then, yeah, here are all of the glyphs, so I would get back on that. But you know what I thought would be fun, though?
What would be fun? Please tell us, David, because this is a special episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to bring this energy anywhere down enough to be able to do like word session.
Yeah.
So how do we channel this energy and make it into the craziest stream ever?
Okay.
Christmas special, you know, you have like a really bad American series and do like the Christmas episode.
Oh, and we have like skits.
So wait. What's being said here is we are the bad American series regularly.
It's so crazy that the American version of LangTime Studio became so popular that nobody knows about the British version anymore.
well, the British one's more.
Well, actually, though, I do want to say I did want to start off with something special because, all right, we're all here for Kopikon, which is tomorrow, and somebody here produced something quite special that I thought we could take a look at.
Yay!
So, Jonathan, who is here right now, put together kind of like a translation in honor of Kopikon. And by the way, and you can see at the bottom there's sheet music. There's actually music for this, and I also downloaded the video. So I was thinking,
Real quick, can you
yeah.
this is what's visible on the screen? Like the
Yeah.
music notes are not at all even there?
Oh my God, why is it so cut off?
I'm not sure. Can we hear it?
Hold on a sec. We will, but we're dealing with a separate issue right now. Nobody can like.
Oh, that's fun. That's always a great one.
Do I have to like?
Do you have to click into like double click it to see what it's?
Yeah.
Like, why is it?
I think it's scaling because we're zooming. Remember, it makes it small on our computer but big on the screen. So I think we're seeing the scaling differences.
But like usually it brings up like a box where I can.
Right. I think it's because we're projecting to the screen that it's confused and it doesn't know what display it's supposed to be doing.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
So
saying.
I think you just need to take that image and drag it down smaller, like the whole window of the image itself. Like
I can, but you know what I
OBS.
you know what I want to see right now is
Move the solidarity room.
well, will this work?
I think it'll just show the school.
Communists.
No, that won't work.
That's my elementary school. And if you look down here behind the big doors, this was actually where my mom taught 4th grade.
Oh.
Also, I've got a light like right above me.
Yes, you do.
It
It's
looks
like you're angelic.
it's slightly ridiculous. Okay, so we're
Oh, David.
gonna have to
Missouri?
mirror.
Missouri.
I'm glad I said it.
Salary.
You will be thrown out of the room if you call it misery.
Oh, speaking of which,
It's
That's fine.
all right. I don't really know what to do, so I guess.
And so I think you should
yeah.
do the easiest thing.
I hate this. I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to shrink it. I'm really sorry because it's. So is everything on screen?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, since we have the author here, I thought if you're interested, maybe you could just come up and explain it. And like I said, we also have the video. This is just the image right now, so we can do the play the video afterwards. But yeah, come on up. I'm gonna see about turning off this light.
Should we turn on the other lights, or are we just gonna be in the dark?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't show up on my screen.
Okay. Oh.
Like there might be a trap door and you just fall.
That's a little.
Oh,
Is
David,
that too much?
Too much.
All right, go for it, Jonathan. Go.
Okay, so this is 3 different conlangs, one of which is not my own, 2 of which are. So at the top, the this bit is my conlang total, which I used for the conlang relay recently-ish. I shared actually a little poem in the LangTime Discord about Kopikon because someone else had written a poem, and I was like, "Oh, I could try that." And don't ask me to pronounce it because I just recently changed the script, so I can't read it that well right now. In the middle is Unnels, which is a nonlinear writing language, which was not my own, but was actually the one I had to translate from in the conlang relay, and I got very interested in it, and have gotten more involved with that. So this is sort of a description of LangTime Studio and Kopikon, and at the bottom is something in my new language, Stefa, which is all musical, so the phonology is entirely musical. The chords are not part of it, but they make it sound nicer.
Right.
Should I explain more? Or I don't know.
Okay, so I had some questions about it. So first,
Yes.
I could tell when I was listening to it that it was like, oh, that's cool. You can add the chords behind it, and then what you're listening for is the melody, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Okay, so that's really cool. Can you just say you don't have to? Can you say what it means?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure.
So each one means a different thing. So it's not translations of the same text. So this one says that we are going to travel together to talk about languages. We'll talk about languages that we've made, which I didn't think was going to be this true. We'll talk about languages that other people have made, and maybe we'll even talk about languages that no one made. So I just want to point out, most of the words in this language are little musical quotations. The first word after the first 3 notes is DG, DG, and that means language, and that is stolen from the beginning of the LangTime chat music. Yes. And then the next word after that is travel, and that's from Star Trek Voyager theme. So, yeah. And just a little bit about the Unnels. So this is the symbol for communication, This is talking about making languages. And this is the part where it says languages for 5 different things. So this is this means dog. It's supposed to look like a dog's tongue sticking out.
Totally does.
This one is cat, which to me looks like a cat sort of loafing from the side. This one is a mouse, which I think is supposed to be like teeth. And then there's no actual words in the language for opossum or rabbit. So that's why these are more complicated. So this is a creature which has 2 long flat ears. And
Indeed.
and this is a creature whose child goes in a pouch in it basically. So
Said a creature that says knan.
there's no way to represent spoken languages. And so basically this is about this. Here is the symbol for year. This says that the creation of these languages started 3.5 years ago. This is gathering together. So this is various people coming together to do this. And so that's what's going on there. So there are 3 different texts, but all about the same thing.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So hang on. Now what we're going to do,
Oh, right.
this is an image. And by the way, John, you're going to love this. So this is Jonathan. And he took a stab at creating a musical language. And this actually says something, and we're going to listen to it right now. All right, so that was that.
And for the people at home, you may not have seen Jonathan's shirt, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
are totally wearing an
Here,
onion
come over.
t-shirt.
If it is visible.
I'll let you know in
There.
roughly 15
Oh,
seconds.
okay. I'll just stand here, I guess.
Okay.
There we go, yes. We got the
Perfect.
onion.
Perfect.
Okay, so now I know that we're streaming from this. I'm going to turn it.
To see you.
What?
They may not be able to
Well,
see
it
it.
doesn't. Well, actually, if they want to
No.
see the staff,
Yeah, you could-
Yeah.
Go small.
So yeah, I'll do that.
It looks
But
like it's visible, just small. I don't know.
there we go. Oh, hey, Nico.
Hi.
All right. So, by the way, what was the name for the language again?
Stefa?
Stefan.
Stefa. Stefa. It's
Okay,
it's the
Stefa.
5 notes. It's S is E flat, D, E natural, F, A.
Got it. All right, Stefa. Okay, so this is it. We're going to listen to it. I have no idea how this is going to sound through the stream if it blasts your ears, but at least for us, we're going to be able to hear it. Here we go. Yes. Amazing. Anyway, that just kind of blew me away. So I wanted to share that. Okay.
Oh, that's got to be like our closing ceremony.
Oh shoot, that's a wonderful idea. I know exactly how to do it too. All right, cool. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. All right, cool. So anyway, for the newcomers who came up, first of all, is there somebody new here who is a patron? Hello.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Hi.
Are you Mac?
Magpie, yes.
Hey! Yay! Magpie is here. By the way, this is just for Magpie's benefit. Next to you is Luke, and then on the other side, Mateus, Jake, Remy, Miles.
We drove them.
What?
We drove here together.
That's irrelevant. Just keep going.
Going.
Oh,
David's world just collapsed.
look,
Absolutely.
you just showed up, which means you know nobody. I proclaim it. Unbelievable. Oh, I'm just disgusted. All right, but anyway, all right, you know everybody. I was about to say Jonathan. But also, for the people that you don't know, you might not, one of our presenters tomorrow, Sally Caves. Then Mr. Biblaridion. Also, of course, one of our presenters. These are our presenters. John Quijada, another presenter tomorrow. And then our very good friend Nico Campi from Argentina. Fellow conlanger. This is Jessica Seaman right here. No. I'm just kidding. That is.
And now you all know my maiden name.
Woo! Oh gosh, yeah. I'm sorry. They might have thought that was a joke. That was her actual maiden name. Anyway.
Behind the lecturing over there.
I know.
It's just going on.
Okay, so I thought something that might be fun is since we have speakers here, we might do some impromptu interviews. Now, I don't think that we can fit two people behind here, so I think what's going to have to happen is I'm going to need to sit in front of the lectern, and whoever's being interviewed has to stand here. So I mean, I think that we should probably start with the CEO and manager of LangTime Studio, Mr. Biblaridion himself.
And I think there's room it depends on how close you want to stand, but
Yeah, I know. This is
David
is
wants
probably-
to sit is really what it is.
Yeah. Anyway,
there we go. You're on screen,
You're pretty
Bib.
tall. Okay, so
You're
he's-
good.
evening.
Yeah, you're
he's-
good.
He's on screen. Okay,
How are you?
So, anyway, Biblaridion, hello.
Good evening.
So you've done a YouTube, I hear.
At least one.
You've done a YouTube.
Okay, but yeah, I don't want to. I certainly don't want to go over or spoil anything for your talk tomorrow. But do you want to spoil anything for your talk tomorrow? Do you want to say anything about it at all, or just leave it a mystery?
What do I want to do? That's a good question. And the answer to that question is, I suppose I will say that while you two have been off doing your own series, this thing that's currently happening right now, I have had my own very similar series in which I've also been recording myself making a conlang.
Oh yeah.
And it's very long, and it's very, I don't have a co-host, so it's basically just me staring at the wall.
So next time David says something mean about me, can I put in my application? Is that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Transport.
That'll definitely get the views up, because it's very, I think I counted it recently and I can't remember, it's something like cumulatively about 45 hours of content, and that's after editing. So
Oh wow.
I usually record myself in 3 to 4 hour chunks, but I think so slowly that by the time I've edited it is usually about half an hour. So, and yeah, so I can totally understand why someone wouldn't want to go back and watch all of that. So I thought I'd bring people up to speed with like a lightning recap, along with some what's the word? Lessons doesn't sound right. Takeaways,
I like that. Yeah,
things
yeah.
that I have, epiphanies, eureka moments that I have had in the process, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm intending to do. How well I actually manage to do that remains to be seen. But
Okay.
yeah,
So,
that's the plan.
Oh, I'm
So
excited.
here's a question I have. Now, obviously, LangTime Studio is incredibly successful. We have viewers that number in the fives. I mean, it's like, what's actually interesting is that for a given actual live stream, for people, the number of viewers watching, this is usually about it.
Yeah.
We've been at it for like 3 years. What I always figure though, it's like, it doesn't matter if people aren't watching. Maybe someday down the line, somebody will find value and they'll watch. For you, you don't really need to worry about that. You seem to have quite a number of people that watch your videos. So like, for example, let's say that one of our recent live streams, I think it tops out at around 200 views. How many views did your last video have?
What was my last video? It's been so long.
Probably something about biology.
Yeah, I was going to say the big confounding factor here is that I also do videos about biology. And
Okay.
for reasons that I still don't
Language.
entirely understand, those are the ones that really get the big numbers.
Okay.
So,
The adjectives and adverbs thing the last time you did?
3.9K.
Oh.
Yes, I watch all of them. So.
oh, thank you for that.
That was the-
In which case, tomorrow's talk will probably be pretty boring for you. So,
No, it's
apologies.
because you're so far spaced out that I forget everything before. But
Oh, excellent. Very good. Very good.
To be very helpful.
And there's a long time between each video too.
That's what I mean. It's like it takes so long between each.
Yeah, tell me about it. I really need to get my act together. So,
This isn't just a statement of fact.
You're definitely Dutch, aren't you?
Logan does say it's because they really like your pretty pictures that go into your videos, into the alien, the biology ones.
I don't even make those pictures. Well, I mean, I make some of them.
But you show them.
Yeah. but-
You have the foresight to share them.
Right.
Yeah, I do struggle sometimes with the linguistics videos to decide what to actually put on the screen at various points. 'Cause
Totally understand that struggle.
yeah.
I do. Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with like letters and
I find
shapes.
that clowns are a good opportunity.
That would scare off a good percentage of people who are just like clowns.
Let's put David.
Ouch. All right, but I mean, really, like, you're going about this in a very British fashion. Give us a ballpark number for like your last linguistic video, and just
I
guess.
tell you, it's 3.9K.
3.9. How many?
Thousand.
K.
Oh, 3,900.
K.
Wait, 3,900. Okay.
See,
Okay.
you don't recognize the K because none of our views get up to that.
That's pretty good. And like, what's say? I mean, you don't have to answer this if it's spoiling. What video of yours has the biggest number of views and how many? About.
That is a point that will be discussed tomorrow.
Nice. Get ready for tomorrow's talk.
Then tune in tomorrow. Okay, but anyway.
I will say I'm not happy about it. That's the yeah.
Too low.
I'll leave it at that for now. I'm not happy
is
about it.
because of which video is getting all in? Oh, now I'm super fascinated. Oh, I can't wait.
Hmm.
I have a theory.
I
Me
also-
too.
Yeah. I think you can all probably guess.
Yeah, I think I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if this isn't stepping on the toes of your talk tomorrow, do you just want to tell us a little bit about how you got started conlanging? Were you going to talk about that tomorrow?
I will be touching on that tomorrow, but no, we'll avoid that completely.
All right, well, and then it's your call. It's your call.
What can I say that I won't talk about tomorrow?
Oh, your childhood. Starts somewhere like
That's always an important place to start.
I will say, I guess, something that I haven't talked about. I have a language that I consistently refer to as my first conlang.
Oh.
But technically speaking, like, I think everyone has this, but when I was 5, I did make a couple of, like, ciphers and things, you know?
No, I never did that.
Really?
Yeah.
You never, because to my mind, as a 5-year-old, that was just how language worked. I thought it was genius. You'd just take the alphabet, and I shifted it over by 3, and I thought that was...
Caesar cipher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how one starts. Yeah.
At 5 years old, I was watching reruns or watching The Price is Right, which is something that you might not get.
I'm familiar. Can you
You're
come on
different.
down?
What? Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
Come
go.
on down, yeah.
Yeah, I watched a lot of The Price is Right at 5 years old.
Wow.
That's what I was doing. I think maybe that's why the viewership numbers are different. Probably.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should make a video on The Price is Right.
Brings it right for calling.
Okay, so your very first conlang was essentially like a cipher.
Trash.
How long did you keep up with it?
The very first one when I was 5?
Sure.
Half an hour?
Yeah, something like that. I remember showing it to my friends in school the next day.
Yeah.
And then I don't think we ever spoke about it again after that point. So
Is that because they weren't your friends any longer?
yeah, they just sort of walked away.
Recess of the board.
What
So
about-
I feel like it's like kind of the same trajectory when I started, except I was, I guess, mentally and everything elsely about 6 years behind you, because I didn't start till I was like 10 or 11, and you were a 5-year-old doing that.
There was a very long gap after that. I think I learned my lesson. And then,
Well, and I learned mine, and I didn't pick it back up till 2008. I mean, I had a very long gap between finding out none of my friends wanted to learn my secret language and then, 2008.
Yeah. So, were you talking about a different one that you think of as your first conlang?
yeah, the one that I consider my first actual conlang. I don't actually talk about this very much in the presentation tomorrow, but I do have a whole video about it. So, but it was it started out just as a relex of Latin because I took Latin in high school because I was interested in Latin. I had a very bad teacher. Like, there's no real way of saying it nicely. He was lovely, but he was it was a very strange experience. It was he was of advancing years, and it was almost as if he thought that we already spoke Latin, because we didn't actually learn Latin. It was, every class was the same. He would always come in and hand out a poem in Latin. Very seldom did he provide a translation, and then we would just take turns reciting it, having no idea what it meant.
Oh my God!
And then we would just spend the rest of the class talking about current events and things, and that was that.
Wow.
Was this in America or
This is in America, yeah.
Oh, God.
Goodness gracious!
He didn't want to teach Latin, that was basically.
And I still remember this was, we did have exams. I can't even remember what format the exams were in, but there was a question on the midterm that was compare and contrast the ideas of pocula and plagas. Well, having no idea what either of those words mean, everyone just had to sort of write some nonsense. And then the next day, or whenever it was, he came in and he was like, I have to admit, I'm very confused by some of the answers that you guys gave on your midterms. And he went through everyone's papers and read out their answers and interrogated them about it. And it turns out in the end that pocula, if I'm not mistaken, pocula means teacup and plagas means fishing net. So compare and contrast the ideas of a fishing cup and which way around is it? I've already forgotten. See, it's so nonsensical, I can't even keep it straight in my head.
Riddle from Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, like, even if I had known what the words meant, what am I supposed to say to that? So,
They start with B.
Man, so you basically did just as well as Alice did.
yes, I got the Alice in Wonderland version of
You don't recall
Latin.
what you said.
Sorry?
You don't recall what you said on the video.
No, I just babbled some nonsense about... Yeah, I honestly can't even
You talking about
remember.
your cipher, maybe.
Yes!
Maybe you thought they were people.
I had nothing to go on.
Yeah, great philosophers.
What I do want to say
Yeah.
is that as is going on in chat right now, and a lot of people have said before, they came to LTS because of you, Bib, and in fact, somebody looked up, your first mention of us was on March 20th, 2020, so within the first month, and that's how we got a lot of our viewers, if not all.
Yeah.
And so, thank you, because
You're welcome.
that really was an amazing boost for us.
Yeah, I actually have a two-part comment on that. First, I'm very, very grateful because, like, at that time, I mean, you were absolutely in the rafters, in the heavens of conlanging YouTube, and the fact that you graced us with your presence at all, and then suggested people come watch us. I was very, very grateful for that. Now, the other part of the comment is, why aren't there more viewers? Why aren't you giving us more viewers? I've seen your views. Send more of them.
I mean, I reference LangTime a fair bit in my case study videos. So.
I do have a theory though, and it's because Bib actually works on editing videos to present content in a packageable way, and in a way that you can like digest that package, and we're just like, whoa, watch it.
But people like that stuff these days.
There are some.
This is
We have
the
found them.
Twitch. They do that on Twitch. They do just pure live streams. It's a very popular. It's in the meta, as they say.
In the meta.
You know what?
That's-
We should
yeah.
start a Twitch. It can be called McLang.
Oh.
You will hear from my lawyers.
Oh. Okay.
How American of you.
But let us. Were you going to say something more about this first language?
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yes.
I got sidetracked thinking about Latin class. Yeah, so basically Latin was the only language that I'd ever studied from like a grammatical standpoint. Like I'd memorized the declension tables and things, just because, you know, if we're not going to actually learn this in class, I might as well try and do it myself. And then I just copied those and just made a really horrible relex of Latin. And then I started learning Turkish at a later point, and I thought, wow, this isn't anything like Latin, this is really cool. So I took everything from Turkish and put it in there, and then I started learning various other languages, and I just put everything, and I just kept adding until it just sort of swelled and burst and collapsed under its own weight, and it was horrible.
What were your ages around this time?
I would have been, this was second year of university, so how old is that? Yeah, something like 19 or 20.
Yeah. Wait, so you started conlanging at the same age that I did,
Just different years.
and you're younger than me, and you're already better than me? Dang.
Take notes, David. And I do want to make sure. I think I said somebody mentioned it or looked it up, and I meant Tincture looked it up.
Oh,
Sorry,
Tincture.
Thank you.
Hey.
I may have just called you somebody, and I think that's what that ouch was for. I'm sorry.
Some person.
Some person.
But yeah, so just out of curiosity, because there are we have somebody with us who we'll hopefully chat with later, who started a conlang, and it was, you know, like the first conlang, very amateurish, but then kept up with it. And like Sylvia Sotomayor is somebody who did that as well, started a conlang in an amateurish way and then kept up with it. Did you keep up with yours, or did you abandon it?
The original one?
Yeah. No. So yeah, just dumped it.
It was there was no place in this world for it anymore. It needed to be sequestered, and
getting Toy Story 3 vibes.
Yeah.
it has at this point been officially destroyed. Nothing of it exists in this world at this point, thankfully.
Wow.
Well, and of course I'm right there with you. I am team abandoned. Everybody knows about my first one. I gave it up, but
I mean, the 4 and a bit conlangs that I do currently maintain, they all have older precedents. They are the spiritual successors to languages that have come before them. So there are some that the originals are bad, but they had that just nugget of goodness that allowed me to contort them into being something better than they were. But that was not the case for the original one. No.
The original lacked nuggets. I see.
It was there are no words. It was just a dark, infinite pit of despair. Oh, God.
Sorry, come back to us, Bib, you're fine.
Right. But awesome. Well, thank you so very, very much for being here.
Yeah, when does someone else have to do this?
All right. Right on. Thanks a lot.
I don't know what we're doing, but
Hold on. Now we're doing this. There we go.
Yeah.
That's it.
thank you.
All right.
Some bizarre thing just happened, half off screen. This is great. We just see your arm, David.
That's how things happen on LangTime Studio. Half off screen with a leaf blower in the background.
When's the mail coming?
By the way,
Email coming.
this now has to be the new way to evaluate really poor conlang work. We just say this conlang lacks nuggets. We'll all know what that means. Anyway, I want to see, by the way, if you want to get to Alex's office before she goes, she's going to go at 6. But anyway, so now my question to the other speakers in the room is, who feels like standing up or who feels like still sitting down? Because you're going to need to stand up. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right, so here we are. My very good friend, Sally Caves, real name, Sarah Higley, and perhaps you can tell us a bit about that. But yeah, come on up. So, okay, yeah, come on up. Okay, you're
Never
not
done this before.
you're
so
not going to see yourself, but it's
I'm nervous,
it's
okay.
the camera, and just stand right there. Okay, and then now, so yeah, just stand right there and. Make an account of yourself.
Well, just recently in August, I turned 70 years old.
Ooh.
So I can say that I've been working on Teonath on and off for 60 years, as opposed to 40 when people was at, when I was 15 and if I gave the talk at Berkeley, I
Yeah.
could say it was 40. So I'm a professor at the University of Rochester, and I teach medieval literature. I'll be talking tomorrow about a class that approaches a conlang class. Should I be looking here or at you? I'll be.
You know what? Since we're here, I say look at us.
Okay, I'm looking at you. All right, so you'll see my nose.
I'll explain what that means. Don't worry, I'll explain why that happened.
Is that something edible?
We know what that means.
I don't know. It looks edible. Maybe it's not.
It is.
Okay.
It'll be deliciousness.
But yeah, we'll do it after. We'll do it after. But yeah.
Well, you asked. I've forgotten your name again.
Bib is fine. You can
Okay, Bib. All right. Yeah. Okay. About working on a language for 60 years now. The language that I started at 9 was inspired by Spanish. To me, it was astonishing that you had a language with a different syntax. And so I started out enthusiastically. I still did not know at the age of 9 and 10 that homonyms in English were not homonyms in Spanish. And I started out with my junior Barnhart dictionary, and I started copying down as many simple words as I could. And when I ran out of innovative ideas, I would just put an A at the end of it, like boxa and cara and that sort of thing for box and car. So it was really very rudimentary. And I knew nothing, even when I was in 15 and 16, about linguistics, really. So I just like Hildegard of Bingen, whom I will be talking about tomorrow, her Lingua Ignota, the first systematic language, earliest in Europe that we know. I'll be talking about her and about the class that I focused around her. Just like her, I would pull things out of the air. All right. So I just wanted to introduce you to a very kiki word. Kiki buba. All right, you know that. Tatalinakuse. Tatalinakuse. And you know what that meant? Disgusting.
Oh my goodness.
And I still have it. I could say that Teonath evolved, all right? I never abandoned it. I mean, it was still named the same thing. It stopped being the language of flying cats when I was 10 and became human. When you hit puberty, you're more interested in humans, you know.
As it happens.
As it happens, right? So they got sexier, right?
Oh, sexy flying cat.
Yeah, some sexy flying cats, you know. They lost the wings and the fur and that sort of thing. What was my point? My point was that Tatali Nakuse, drawing things out of the what?
You never abandoned the language.
Oh, I never. Thank you. I never did quite abandon it. It's still the people of Tehon. All right. And Tehon Nath is the adjectival and suffix that, just like every language, from Spain, Spanish, from England, English. So Ath was mine. And of course I borrowed the Hebrew I am to mean people, Teonim, boom. How original. But totally Nakuse I kept in there, even though the language evolved, and then it evolved violently when I found conlang. I thought, oh my God, this language of mine is not sophisticated. Look at all these people who have had linguistic backgrounds, and so competition set in, and I really expanded it in 1998. All of this completely secret from my department, right? Including my nom de plume.
Yeah.
So you were going to ask a question, it looks like.
No, actually, you answered it, because I was going to say, give us a year, because did you join the conlang list in 1998? It wasn't earlier.
No, it wasn't. It was late. It was 1998. I distinctly remember it because I was director of undergraduate studies. I should have been directing undergraduates, and I was directing undergraduates, and I had met you and everybody, and it was on the Brown listserv.
Yeah.
And you had been doing it for almost a year. Almost a decade. Excuse me, and I felt the way I did about Tolkien. When I found out about Tolkien, I thought, oh, this is amazing. I'm no longer unique. All right, those two conflicting emotions. And I felt the same way then. But it also inspired me tremendously to improve Teonath and to make it more original and to give it a more... I had been working on syntax issues. I had decided to make the extremely rare object, subject, verb, which actually you can't think in it. I mean, so it became a subject, object, verb, where you just repeated the pronoun in front. You said something like. Sarah spoke, Sarah to David, she spoke. All right.
In a moment of a pause, I realized we don't want to carry this all the way back and carry it back tomorrow, so we need to do this now so we have some here tomorrow.
Yeah, like.
Well, let's
Because I want to leave it in Alex's office.
You want to just take a handful and...
It's candy. You can't see that.
You need to get rid of them.
Okay.
I don't have a word for it in Teonath.
Knocking the water over.
But yeah, Jesse's scanning it out. Like with everybody else, I don't want you to step on the toes of your talk tomorrow too much, because I want to make sure everybody comes and watches it or streams it. But since Jesse is back in the room, I wanted to reveal and ask you about something totally different. So,
okay.
I got Jesse watching Star Trek: The Next Generation for the first time. She'd never seen any Star Trek at all.
Hey!
We
Can't believe it.
We had a goal in mind, which was that we were going to get as far as the episode Hollow Pursuits, which we did watch, and I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about like the background of that and how it came to be and exactly what's going on with it.
Oh, I will. I mean, in fact, I could speak for hours about that because that was quite an experience. I never thought it would get off the ground at all. But when I saw the next generation, somewhat grudgingly, because I was so drawn to the original series. So I saw it somewhat grudgingly, but I quickly warmed to it, especially the holodeck. And I realized that probably my interest in invented languages and miniatures and all that sort of thing had to do basically with a general interest in the virtual. And so way before the metaverse or Second Life or any of these games came out, I thought that the holodeck would be an amazing place to get totally addicted to the point of, your real life suffering. And nobody was addicted to it. I mean, Picard and Riker and everybody went in there and then came out again, perfectly sane, and they were just so balanced. So I decided to invent a character who would get addicted to. It's called Holodiction. So that was Barclay, and his professional life began to
Suffer.
Thank you. The 70-year-old brain. And in many ways, I realized that it worked as an allegory of my own life on a number of reasons. He would go into the holodeck, and then he was basically told he couldn't do that, and he was made to erase his programs. He went into the holodeck and interacted with virtual images of his colleagues that he felt more comfortable with. He was very, very shy. He was very brilliant. He could do things with the holodeck nobody else could. And so on one level, it was about writing for Star Trek and all of the crap that went with that. Having to deal with storyboards and Michael Piller, and I met Melinda Snodgrass, who was brilliant. We became friends. The whole television process, and how you're told you can't do this, you can't do that, you're ruining my character, all this sort of stuff. Rewriting and rewriting and rewriting things that I was playing out Barclay and stepping on the toes of the characters that he invented. I wanted to know what were civil rights about. What were people's basic civil rights about being reproduced in the holodeck? And so I wanted to examine this from a psychological point of view. And of course, the story got changed. But on another level, too, it was me being fascinated with the virtual world and all these creative possibilities. And conflicting, having to balance my professional life with this passion and somehow also make these passions academically valid by teaching them. All right. I'm fascinated with the medieval world because they did this kind of thing. The Middle Ages was vastly diverse. People like to put it in a box when it covers a 1,000-year period, and we're talking about many different nations and different languages. And in one city, they have the Inquisition, in another they have a completely, it was the religion coming together, the Christian religion coming together. There were heresies, there were stamping downs, there were amazing inventions, including Hildegard of Bingen. 12th century was so robust. And I found that it fit well with another passion of mine, science fiction, fantasy writing, invented worlds, the land of cocaine, COCKAYNE, with ideas of heaven, for instance, as a kind of virtual world. And so what my talk will be about is essentially a class that I tried to do some kind of conlanging work or language invention work by situating it in the Middle Ages and looking at what they did with language that's strange, curses, incantations, blessings, medical recipes, ciphers, angelic language, demonic language, and then getting my students involved in making up something that I'll talk about. All right. Yeah. So that's it tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Do we get a fifth?
Yeah, we're gonna do it off camera, just per tradition.
Okay.
But now,
It's good to be here. Yeah.
now I'll tell you why everybody kind of made an ovation at a certain point earlier. So, in our live stream, and we'll talk about the history of it tomorrow, but essentially, we kind of, well, first we drag our heels actually getting started, then we do the poll, then we actually start doing some conlang work, and there's usually some back and forth as we try to not really get started doing conlang work. But usually we get going, and when we finally do something, when we finally accomplish something in the language, we give ourselves a little reward. And it's usually around the halfway point, but sometimes it can be quite late, sometimes a little bit earlier if we've accomplished something really early on. And so each of us enjoy a Kopikon candy. So,
So these are the regulars, these are the cappuccino.
Ooh, regular and cappuccino. We're going to talk a little bit about the history, but I know I've mentioned it before. Should I talk about where I got it from?
Well, you can do that because I think tomorrow
Yeah.
I'm doing the little recap, and I won't mention where you got
Right.
Kopikon.
Yeah.
I'm just I will be enlightening people tomorrow before we actually start the conference about why it's called Kopikon. Because let me tell you, it has been really difficult to explain that.
Extremely controversial.
And
They've hated it.
And so anyway, tomorrow there will be an entire little timeline opening display, and here we go. But David, no, I want to tell this part of the story.
Okay, so Jesse and I, we start this live stream, right? And we started before the pandemic, where we've all heard of COVID, but people are still kind of making jokes about it, right? And then it's like literally 2 weeks later, COVID, lockdown. The very last day when we realized we were going to be like locking things down and things like that, my mother, bless her dear heart, was one of the ones that was all panicking, where it's like, I mean, one of the panics that was going around Facebook was that there was going to be, you weren't going to be able to get bleach. And it's like, what? Oh yeah, I don't know if anybody remembers this. And it's like my mother, who was like using straight bleach, I don't know, once a year, maybe, was like, we're gonna run out of bleach. We need to get bleach. And it's like, Target is out of bleach. Vaughn's is out of bleach. And so I said to my sister,
It's a lot to inject it, you know.
That's what I thought.
So I said to my mother, I know where to get bleach. And so my little sister and I, because you remember it was the beginning days of the pandemic, there was a lot of misinformation flying around, you know, and of course that all stopped soon afterwards, right? Anyway, but at that time, you know, there was like people making runs on basic supplies. There was also a lot of misinformation about, you know, somehow this pandemic, it was all started by China and it was some sort of biological weapon. So I was like, I know the stores where bleach is going to be in supply. And so with my sister, I went to East Garden Grove and went to the Vietnamese supermarket. And indeed, we found bleach there. And so my mother could rest easy. She had her bleach. But while I was there, I found some Kopikon candy. Now, Kopikon candy I knew about because my mechanic, he always had coffee candy. So whenever I would take my car in, you know, I'd open it up and grab myself a coffee candy. There are different types, but one of them was Kopikon, so I was well familiar with it. And so I said to Natalie, oh, hey, look, they got Kopikon. And she's like, what's that? It's a coffee candy. It's good. And so I bought some along with the bleach. And so we had some. Anyway, so we were doing our live stream. And I don't know exactly when, but we had accomplished something, and so I said, I'm going to treat myself. And so I gave myself a little Kopikon candy. At this time, Jesse was in Texas, and I was in California still. And so I'm still in California. She was still in Texas. Anyway, so I enjoyed that. And it became kind of a little tradition when we did something that I would have some Kopikon. Eventually, we got Jesse some Kopikon as well, and so that was how the tradition started. And we've kept it up. Anyway, and so then, and now Kopikon is named after Kopikon
The sponsor.
candy. Yeah, the official sponsor.
Someday we hope.
Incidentally, Kopikon is actually
They know about this. They have absolutely
it's a coffee company from Indonesia, and they just happen to make these candies. I don't think they know about us.
No, but I would like to point out that we just ordered our new supply of Kopikon, which you saw here is also like the one we had at home, and it now has new packaging that on the well, it does have new packaging with the gold bar here, but on the actual package itself, which I put back in her office, it actually says it is now the #1 best-selling coffee candy in the world. And I like to think that's because of us.
That is absolutely.
And so
Yes,
I like to think that.
They owe us something. So anyway, we figured it's a nice time to take a break and enjoy some Kopikon, and we have some here for everybody.
That's why we came.
But not only that, we also have another surprise from a friend who was here a little bit earlier. Jonathan, you want to come up and tell us? Come on.
What is there to say?
Well, just show everybody. Okay, what
Cookies. It's cookies.
But what kind of cookies?
They're mocha cookies, so they're coffee and chocolate.
Okay, so look, we also have mocha. Yeah, mocha,
That's all.
coffee, and chocolate chip
Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, anyway.
Take the first one.
Oh my God, yes I do. I think we should have little napkins.
Oh, yeah. It's,
Okay. I'm going to put it on my phone. Jonathan's cookie. Very excited. Have that rest on my phone.
This one's regular, the cappuccino. If you don't want a regular, put it in.
I'd like a cappuccino one.
Which one's the cappuccino?
Are you trying it? Are you trying it? Oh.
Well, I have.
Take a selfie.
The economy club was like.
That's all right.
Wait, did I miss? Here's cappuccino. There's enough for everyone.
Put it in front of me and I reached out and you're like, oh my God.
Can I have a cappuccino? Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go.
Enough for everyone to have more than one. Cappuccino. Chino.
Oh, look at Chino.
The
Give me
Chino.
Chino.
Now maybe I will try. Do you want to
Okay.
Did you want to try a cappuccino?
Okay, Jess, we need to do ours.
Yeah, we do, but also like.
Cookies have coffee in as well, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a cookie?
Feel like a surge
You're
of
right.
energy right now.
Oh my God, John.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
It's like back to where it was like they were really good before.
Holy shit, is this a joke? God damn. Oh my God.
So Jonathan apologized for the unicorn that had to be killed in the making of this magic. But oh my God, so good.
This is incredible. What the hell, man?
The only thing missing is a cup of coffee, so I guess I'll substitute a coffee.
It does actually have caffeine in it.
Take the rest of those home.
My word. Okay, well now I know what my dinner is.
Anyway, so also per tradition, whenever we do the Kopikon, we cheers each other. We used to do it through the screen. Now we do it in person.
Woo!
Cheers, partner.
Cheers.
And did you tell your audience that in a pinch, crunchy granola can be substituted for
Yes.
something?
That's right.
Yes.
When we visited John, yeah.
We do sometimes forget to travel with our Kopikon. I just dropped mine.
I just dropped one. It's fine. This is it's fine. All right, and I always do a little slogan. Sometimes they're pretty bad, but Kopikon, when after 3 years of doing this for distance, you finally get together in person. Cheers, everybody. And now I can't wait to finish this so I can have more cookies.
I was gonna. Yeah.
All right. Moving right along, we have another speaker with us. And so please come to the podium, Mr. John Quijada, inventor of irregular. All right.
Greetings all.
So now, John told me ahead of time that he didn't want me to look at his slides, and which I have not, because his presentation tomorrow is a surprise even for me. So we want to. I mean, you're going to know more than I. Let's just steer clear of whatever that is. So.
Well, I can say one thing about it.
Okay.
Just, the surprise is the fact that I'm speaking about ithquil at all, because I've spoken at many, well, not many, several conlang conferences before, but never about my own work. Always about something else, and. In fact, I've kind of made it a point to avoid speaking about my own work. And so I'm going to make an exception tomorrow and devote a presentation focused solely on my own work, and for the first time and almost certainly the last time. So, so it will be a unique experience in the history of the world in that regard. So.
I'm just imagining now that, as Biblaridion mentioned his first language being destroyed, I'm imagining at the end you're going to bring out a plunger and say, okay, that was it. Here goes irregular.
Yeah, I would love to do exactly that. Unfortunately, a lot of fans have copied it off to other servers and stuff, so I'm afraid it would be like stamping out roaches at this point. So, actually, speaking of Biblaridion, I was... amazed that we shared a common kind of story with him with his Latin class. It was very, very similar to my experience with my Sanskrit class at university. My linguistics degree at the time required that I study a classical language, so of course I thought I was going to be studying Latin. But then one semester before I was planning to take it, I was informed, a lot of us, everyone in the linguistics program at the time was informed that we were going to be blessed the next semester by the arrival on sabbatical of one of the world's premier Sanskrit scholars from India. Dr. Sumitra Mangesh Katra was his name. And so, here's your opportunity to study Sanskrit from one of the world's great Sanskrit scholars. So I said, I can't pass that by, so I signed up. And on the first day of the class, apparently the announcement had also been made to the religious studies department, because and these people wanted to read the Vedas in the original. So the classroom was about half the size of this room, probably had about 12 desks in it, maybe 15. And it was standing room only all along the walls. There was about 40 or 50 people in the class, most of them standing. And Dr. Katra was a couple of minutes late. He entered through the back of the class and just came up. He was just wearing a blue suit. And he just looked around at everyone very slowly, didn't introduce himself. He just went to the whiteboard, or was it the chalkboard back then? Probably a chalkboard back then. And just said, the third conjugation of a Bahuvrihi compound can be designated as follows, and he began declining a Sanskrit verb in Devanagari writing. And of course, about 2/3 of the people in the class immediately just began, whatever he was writing on there, they were trying to copy it, and they didn't know Devanagari, so they were just scribbling. And no explanation, no introduction, nothing, just straight into declension of verbs in Atmanepada form, if I remember correctly. Anyway, the second day of class, the 45 or so people were down to about 10 people. So, and it never got better. And everything I learned in that class, I just learned from the book, because he was rather incoherent and explained nothing. Just would go to the board and start writing things in Devanagari as if we all knew the language already, and that never changed. So I was you reminded me of that experience. The other thing I noticed today, listening to the others, was I share something with Sally, in that my first conlang, my first sketch lang, when I was 14 when the bug bit me, and I'll be talking about that tomorrow a little bit. My first sketch lang was also based on Spanish. I had discovered the notion of conlanging from a source other than Tolkien, which I will divulge tomorrow, and it immediately made me run to the local public library and head straight for the 490 section of the Dewey Decimal System and the Learn a Language section. The first book I grabbed was a book on Swahili, and I took that home and created my first sketch lang, which was relexified Spanish with a Bantu phonology. But unlike Sally, that language did not continue on for 50 odd years. It was probably about 50 odd hours. So that was that before it went on to the next language I discovered, which I think was that was the typewriter language, which I'll talk about tomorrow. Anyway, so
yeah, my goodness. All right, so let's see. Okay. Are you going to talk about music tomorrow at all?
No, I think on one of the slides I was going to make a passing reference to the fact that that you and I had collaborated on some music that utilizes the language, but I'm just going to make a passing reference to it. No details.
Okay. Well,
so if you want to talk about music, we can talk about music.
Do you want to at least tell all of them how stringent you are about pronunciation while singing? While singing, that was where.
I'm totally willing to do so, but are you willing to divulge what I have on you?
Yeah, we want that.
Okay. For those of you who may be aware, I back in around 2013, I wrote a few songs. Music composition is one of my many hobbies. It's a hobby that I take off the shelf about once every 15 to 20 years and indulge for a few years and then put back on the shelf. The last time I did it was in 2013. And so from 2013 through 2018, I created 6 big, giant progressive rock songs. And I decided to make the lyrics to them in Ithquil. And I accidentally, or not accidentally, but just happened to be in the same room one time. It was actually in London with David, and I heard him singing, just spontaneously singing some, I don't know what it was, a Flock of Seagulls song or something. And I said, holy shit, he's got a much better singing voice than I do. So I basically twisted Dave's arm for about a year and talked him in eventually to singing the lyrics to these songs rather than me, and he graciously agreed to do that. I discovered afterwards because he has a secret desire to be Freddie Mercury. But anyway, so we collaborated on these songs, and they're out there on YouTube. And but of course, Ithquil is a language that if you mispronounce even one phoneme, it changes the meaning of everything. And so obviously I couldn't have anything mispronounced. And so David had to do about 10 takes of every single line of every song. I didn't.
Songs are long.
Yes.
They're about 14 minutes a piece, give or take.
10 takes.
Well, it's retro 70s progressive rock, so it's a very niche genre of music.
I want to insert a little comment here though, because you're getting on him for him being all like your pronunciation. Let's work on this. I want to know how many times did you make me say the same doggone word when I did my 12 recordings in the Biblaridion Duolingo course over there. You'll notice they're only single words and words that David deemed I could say. And the number of times you were like, no, you're doing this. No, it's not And
oh my God!
I wasn't that.
So I'm glad he did this.
I wasn't that stringent attack.
I mean, come on, you have the Aries thing.
I wasn't that stringent a taskmaster. Instead of saying no. I just told him takes 1 through 4 are unusable. Take 5 I can use the first word. Take 6 I can use the third, 5th, and 6th word. Things like that. So I had to piece together all the songs, but most of it was there. But David was very, very motivated to try to please me and do a good job, which I thank him for. But when he did not do a good job, and when he felt he did not do a good job, he would let both me and himself know this by interrupting his singing with a lustily articulated epithet, usually of the 4-letter variety.
An expletive.
Yes, an expletive. And he did not edit these takes afterwards. He'd send them to me raw. I did all the engineering, all the sonic engineering, with all the software and everything. So I've got about probably 8 hours worth of snippets, 1-line snippets in Ithcoil being sung, punctuated by David Peterson shouting out various 4-letter expletives in the English language.
I often wonder what our neighbors think of us, because that is the loudest thing you say. And so he'll be recording, and of course, doing his recordings, shouting like an angry orc or whatever they're called in Halo, and shouting like this very angry person, and then suddenly all you can understand from it is the punctuation of what you yell when you mess up. And our neighbors must think we are really struggling.
So David is now required to remain my friend for the rest of his life, because if we ever have a falling out, I'm going to create a rap song using all my software.
I mean, that would be a sick rap song.
And it's going to be composed of those portions of the recordings that are not in Ithquil. Let's put it that way. So you will be able to hear David shouting out wonderful words of
Is this on
emotion.
Even better, do one of those remixes so that those are all the verses, and then the chorus is me singing in Ithquil, auto-tuned.
Yes.
Anyway, so that was our musical collaboration experience, and if you're interested, just probably the easiest thing to do is just Google or put my name into a YouTube search, and it'll bring up my channel, and the 5 videos are there. I have a 6th song all written and ready to go, but it's never been produced, and I don't know if I could ever get you to have time on your schedule for you to sing it anymore.
I'll do it. I'll do it. But I have to say what I started really, really loving and appreciating from your music were the really, really long solos. I was get through a phrase, and then it's 7 minutes of solo. Yes.
Well, as I said before, the music is 70s retro progressive rock, which is heavily solos are featured in that music from that period. So I grew up with that music in high school. Until punk hit, of course. Then me and my friends threw all of our Yes and Genesis albums away, and dove into the Ramones and company. But prior to that, it was all prog rock. So
Yeah. Hey, oh shoot. What was I gonna ask? It wasn't. It was. Oh,
excuse me.
oh man.
It'll come back to
I
you.
love that you asked me though what you were gonna ask.
Well, you're supposed to be in telepathic communication with them, right?
We're working on it.
I remember. So, by the way, Sally talked about how she joined the list in 1998. If you're not talking about it tomorrow, what about when you found the wider conlang community? How did that work?
Well, I was, I'd been working on Ithquil since 1978, off and on. Basically, any time I wasn't dating anyone, I was working on it. So sometimes I'd be working on it for a stretch of long periods. Anyway, and I guess I thought that I was the fifth conlanger who had ever existed in the history of the world, since I was aware of Zamenhof, Schleyer, Tolkien, and Ursula Le Guin. Yeah. So I guess it would have to be sixth, because of course the person who did cause me to have the bug, which I'll be talking about tomorrow. So that would make me number 6. So I thought I was the 6th conlanger in the history of the world. And then one day I was taking a break at work, and we had just gotten computers. We just gotten the internet at work, and I'd heard all about it, and it was fun. This was around 1997, 96, 97. Anyway, so I said, hey, I've heard about these search engines. I wonder if you can do searches on anything. So I put into Alta Vista, I think it was, I put in the words constructed language, seeing what would happen. And one of the first things that it returned was the Conlang mailing list. And I said, what's this? And I opened it up, and my world was turned upside down. And I realized, and then I thought, wow, there's more people doing this than I thought. And then I started reading some of the posts, and I remember some of the posts from like And Rasta, and maybe, did Rick Morneau ever post on there during that time? Yeah. And I started reading their posts, and I said, and boy, talk about a dose of humility. I said, oh my God, these people know a lot more about linguistics and language than I do, and I've got a degree in it, And so I said, I got to up my ante here, and similar to what Sally went through there. So, but it did inspire me to, because at that point, I'd been working on the language for 30 odd years, and I said, I got to really get this done, and that sparked the drive to get it finished, which I did, and finally got it finished and published in early 2004. So, and the rest is history, which we'll be talking about tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Sure.
Let's see. Well, we do have a little bit of time, so I thought, he's not presenting, but I wanted to bring my friend Nico up just really briefly. Come on up, Nico, because so Nico's a friend from Argentina, and he did something pretty interesting a few years back. Okay, so first, hello.
Hi.
Oh wait, stand
Hi
right
to
in front of
everyone.
the computer.
I'll let you know when we're on our 15-second delay. I'll let you know when
Okay.
YouTube actually shows you.
Okay.
Oh no, you're good. You're perfect.
Okay, so Nico actually got the opportunity to create a conlang professionally for a film. So
For a film in Argentina, it was about it was a Lovecraftian themed movie. It was called the Necronomicon, the Book of Hell. But yeah, it was really interesting because they wanted to. It was funny. They wanted to use an accent. I mean, the script asked for an accent, a weird accent of some kind. So I remember saying, hey, why not create a language, dark and Lovecraftian in a way, for the sect that's the keeper of the Necronomicon in that movie. And they said, yeah, let's go with it. And and I started working on that. And of course, if many of you might be very well aware of Lovecraft and the few snippets of language that appear there, or the names of the gods and everything. Of course, I had to make the language a little bit more pronounceable, because I was pushing it already with, create a language for an audience that's fairly new to the concept. I mean, I kind of have to say that I kind of used David here because when I was selling that, I was pitching that, I was like, have you seen Game of Thrones? you know Daenerys? Well, something like that. And, oh yeah, that's really good. Of course, it's nothing like that, but the idea, at least, because if when I went and said like a constructed language, it was like, what? Like, can you even do that? Are you allowed to do that? That's the first impression I always get. Like, I will say, yeah, I construct languages, as like, what do you mean? Like, is that even a thing? Is that even possible? And it always amazed me how people don't think that's possible. That don't think that you can actually create a language. So yeah, we worked with that. We had the actors. We had to do the voices and the dialogue, and we even recorded the teaser trailer. It was in the language, which you remember that I showed you at your home. Yeah, and so they wanted to do that teaser trailer in the language, and I was, yeah, let's do it. And they said, you know what, let's just, cut the middleman. Can you say the words? Because if not, it's going to be like, I had the whole thing. And they were like, yeah, nobody's going to read this. Well, so can you do it? And I said, yeah, of course. And I remember recording it, and it was, I don't know if this happened to you, but it was very, very weird to me. We were with the director and everyone there. I was the one that was saying like, now can we do that again? Can we have another take? Can we do it again? Because I don't feel like, of course they were like, yeah, that's great. I was like, no, here I mistaked one of the words, or I stumbled, or, I stuttered, and yeah, nobody noticed, but I was like, no, let's do it again. Of course, that was funny, and we actually, we premiered the teaser trailer at Comic-Con, Buenos Aires Comic-Con.
At where?
At the Buenos Aires Comic-Con.
Wow.
We have a Comic-Con there. Yeah.
Nice.
Which is a very weird Comic-Con. It was like twice a year. Like I think it's once a year.
So like Bimon Sci-Fi?
Yeah, something like that. Then the pandemic killed that. I don't know what's going on with that anymore. But yeah, and it was very rewarding. I was there with my family and all, and they showed the teaser trailer, and the audience asked for it to be shown again. Like they wanted to see it again because of the voice and the language. It was really cool. It was really cool. We talked about there. They have like a mini interview to talk about language. The director said like, this is Aklo, which if anyone knows about Lovecraftian lore, Aklo is supposed to be the language of the elder gods and things. I did not make it thinking about Aklo, but whatever. He said it. He made it canon. No, I can't take it back now.
It's just a Lovecraftian version of Chekopsa, because there are many Chekopsas.
Of Chekopsas, yeah, all the Chekopsas, yeah, things like that happen, right? Like he will say, I was like right there. I was like, okay, well, I think, now that's true, I guess. But
Mark Okran has to explain to people names like Chekuvma, so
in a language where, totally. So it was fun. I pulled like influences from Sumerian, mainly Akkadian and Elamite for the grammar. I had like. It's very funny because they asked if we wanted to contribute to the book that would be coming with the movie to make a short story that we wanted. I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. and they wanted a short story that kind of features the language a little bit. There I described some aspects of the language, but of course not too much, because that doesn't make a good story, does it? It's like, if I go into the grammar and like have a character monologuing about the grammar. Oh yeah, you know what they do with the object in this language? So cool! So cool! To me it's cool, but it wasn't compelling enough. But I think it was pretty good. It has some characteristics that are very reminiscent of Sumerian in particular, which I was studying at the time, so yeah, I kind of lifted some things there. But I mean, it sounds cool. Sumerian sounds cool and dark and weird, so yeah, that was a big... And also black speech from Tolkien. That was also a reference for me. But well, to make it, agglutinating, that's always coming very handy, I've also contributed to one short film that was presented in Comic-Con here, well, in San Francisco Comic-Con. That was about Dungeons and Dragons, and they actually, it was another Lovecraftian thing, because they needed to translate, the That Is Not Dead, which can eternal lie, into Sindarin. And David Salo said, "Can you do this? Because I'm like busy, I can't do it. Could you translate this into Sindarin?" And I did the translation, and it was pretty cool too. So yeah, those are the two things that are most cool about what I did. But yeah, it was fun. It was very fun.
It's like, it's the type of thing, especially in the United States, you don't necessarily hear about. So
yeah,
I just thought it would be cool to have.
Yeah, it was a whole movie.
What Nico's not telling you, everyone, is he is probably the world's most unaccredited and unknown Tolkien scholar. He's quite the Tolkien scholar.
I'm quite a fan. Yeah, I've also started with Tolkien in mind,
which he knows about the languages and can talk about. That is quite amazing.
Wow.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I love that. In fact, when I started calling in, I remember I already knew about Tolkien. I didn't know that much, but I knew he had created a language for the elves. So I said, hey, wait, so maybe I can create a language too. Like that's sparked the idea that maybe I could do it, And yeah, I remember that, like you, I thought there might be 5, 10 of us roaming around the world. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, give or take. And yeah, I mean, finding the internet, and yeah, it was amazing, mind blowing. There are so many conlangers out there. You could spend your whole time reading about conlangers and non-stop. There's a lot. And yeah, it was very humbling too. Yeah, but I mean, you always have your innermost projects, maybe your first language, no, but like Viv said, maybe they are a spiritual continuation of something you started. I remember I also started with the cipher. It wasn't quite systematic, but it wasn't like I created the language, the cipher for the language. I just wanted to encrypt, because I used to write a lot when I was in high school, my own thoughts, and I didn't want anyone to read them. So I said, okay, I can use a cipher. And my great idea was this, that you couldn't, if you do a cipher like a Caesar cipher, you will have vowels become consonants in many cases, and that you cannot read it. So I said, what if I replace vowels with vowels, and consonants with consonants? Then I can read it, and I can even speak it out, and nobody can understand what I say.
I wish I thought of that.
So I started. So I started with that, and when I said, hey, I can turn this into language. So I said, suppose those ciphers are the roots, Then I can degrade them, make daughter languages, which are full languages, But I can start with those as roots, and I can go to town with them, completely destroy them in whichever way I want. I just assume, okay, this is the new root, whatever. It was a very good start for the language. But yeah, that language and that whole language family, because it has many conceptual phases. It's very private. I've never showed it. It's very weird. But I did other languages that are on the internet. So yeah, it's like it's been ongoing. So I want to get to the 60 years working on that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Man.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good to see you. All right, so we got like 17 minutes left before we can finally call it quits and go get some food. We've had a new patron join us, former patron. Hello, Minnie. Do you want to be on camera a little bit?
Sure.
Here, just come over and say hi. No, just
Saying hi.
there we go.
And wearing a Jasmine shirt.
But anyway, so good to see you.
You too.
All right. Okay, so what do you think? Should we work on the actual language?
Well, Karis thought that
Yeah.
the longest lead-in to actually working on a language was about 80 minutes
Okay.
before we actually started working on a language. But then went back and checked the records and found out it was really that we spent 85 minutes of an episode trying to figure out one issue with Lexergy. And it was probably on our end writing the rule wrong, but we couldn't figure out why things were going wrong.
Graham's
85
fault.
minutes.
Graham's fault. Graham's
It is
fault.
never Graham's fault. Graham is a genius and amazing, and I adore all of the Lexergy work.
All right.
But yeah,
But here.
that's our record. So if David wants to,
Here, let's do something. Let's do something. This is what I want to do. Let's just try to make the stick. That's all. So, that's all. All right. So we're going to start here. We're going to copy this, and we're going to delete that and delete
anyone who
those.
didn't bring jackets, it is getting progressively colder in here.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. Like I don't know where we can.
So,
I know, me too. I'm like,
so check this out. This is actually pretty good. All I need to do is rotate it. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to rotate it. How do we rotate?
Rotate.
Here we go.
oh my.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Now, when is it straight?
It looks straight now.
No, it's not. Okay, look. We have. Yeah, so the bottom, you can see on the bottom, it's at 631. That point is at 631 along the x-axis. And if you look up top, you can see that that's 628. So we need to go, Oh, we can't get it. I need to zoom in.
Oh,
Okay.
you ruined it all anyway.
No, we need to zoom in. Okay. Oh, but now I can't see it. Okay, hold on.
Actually, the right side looks straight, and it's the left side that's
Well,
not.
no, no, here's the problem. I can't actually see this node. So you can see this is at 641 and this is at 631. This one needs to get to 641. But I can't actually, if it's not going to twist it, because it only twists across that, the thing that you're pressing it on. I know what I can do. Okay, here we go.
I think we've lost our live audience, by the way.
No, they're.
We've lost them.
Here we go. Now I know what to do. So this thing is at 1200. So all I need to do is just get the top one to 12. Oh no, wait! I have an even better idea. Hold on. No, we're gonna get this one. 650. Okay, and now we're gonna rotate it. Here we go.
Taking notes of who's saying what.
That's at 648.
648.
But it needs to be at 650. Oh, but you know what? It's got the little straight thing on it, so.
I think that node is slightly not on the. Put a node on the actual straight line. I think
Hold on.
that's where the curve begins. Look at that. The curve has already started.
It's not even doing it if I zoom in. I think 648 is the closest I'm going to be able to get. So here's the problem. Okay, so that's at 648. This is at 650. So so now what I need to do is I'm going to take, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to move over 2. Okay, so now this is at 443. This is at 451, so that's a big problem. Okay, so.
Jonathan wants you to just move the bottom.
Move the bottom node by 2, and then it'll be straight.
Well, I did. I moved everything, but now we have to move this because this 451, 451. That's fine.
Aren't you paying attention?
By the way, now that I know Jonathan in person, I think I can take some of their comments a lot better because let me tell you, some of your comments come across in quite a way. Let me just say. All right. All right. Okay, so here we go. So now we got that. Now we got that straight.
I'm supposed to bring the sass.
We got that straight. And let me see. The top is going to be like around 1,500. So this is at 1492. When nothing happened of import. I'm going to make this straight, and so what happens is you see these little things that come out here. In order for them to be straight, the x values need to be the same when they're coming out horizontally like that. So I'm going to take them down to, okay, so what that?
Well, and as you're trying to figure out how
it's
to
the
do
y
that,
value.
We have 11 minutes. Are we actually going to try to do a poll before next week for our patrons? Like, is there something to even poll on?
We
Besides
can.
Best Kopikon Speaker Award? I mean,
Ooh.
you know.
Hold on, this is at 1262. I'm going to bring that down. We can vote on if next live stream we're actually going to conlang or not. But honestly, though, that looks pretty good.
You got a stick?
Yeah, and so now all we need to do is get the little swooshy here. And I don't know, like I could show you here, but basically, yeah, we're just going to make another kind of like little swooshy and then have it come down like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, paste it. We're going to delete that. And we're going to just pull it over and see what happens.
Kyle and Tincture have cheered for your stick. I know what I said.
As long as somebody is. The rare self-burn. No, okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to delete. I think we're going to delete this. All right. Yeah, and then we're going to delete that. All right, because what essentially we want this curve to basically go up to that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, move it right there. I'm going to drop a node in here because we just want it overlapping, and delete that. Delete that. Okay, here we go. So now,
You catching up?
yeah.
There we go.
Now what we need to do is we need to kind of. I'm actually going to delete this. And just see if I can pull this down and have it. That's a little much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like that curve.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop another node in here and delete this. See what I mean? All right. Oh, it's not at the same spot, is it? Let's see. So this is, no, that's the top one. The top one needs to say the bottom one needs to come over. What is that? What on earth is this doing? Why is it defying me? This is 224,943. So 224,943. There we go. Now it lines up. That's good. We're going to, not that. We have to bring that down. All right, so we need another node.
All the nodes.
This one. Going to delete that. Better. Good. And so now this needs to come up. So we're going to drop a node in here and bring that up. Perfect.
Oh, no, not perfect.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is. It's like a moment. You see, yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's like a moment in what's that book I've never read with the dolphins? Oh, sorry. Darn it.
Is it The Island of the Dolphins?
No. Well, I've never read that either.
I wonder you've not read many words by George.
You know the
Dark Tide Rises.
the famous sci-fi one, the comic one. It had a movie that had every British actor in it, quite literally. It had Alan Rickman. It had
Whales.
what? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, so it's like, you know, it begins with like the entire world ends, and they say like, you know, don't worry. Yeah, so don't worry. Anyway, look at that. It's pretty good. Pretty good. And you know what I think that we're going to do? I want to bring this down. I want to bring this down to the. I want to bring it down to the descending line, which is 250, because and so it's going to actually go below the writing line. In fact, here let's just put the metrics at 0. So set side bearings to 0, and let's put this up with some other things, just to see how it looks. Some other characters. Okay, so you see, I like it being slightly below the writing line, just like the goat beard is on this thing. See how it goes?
Nice, yeah.
Right. Now, what I am going to need to do is, we don't have any sharp terminations at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, it's going to be a nice, gentle curve. I'm going to have a node there. I'm going to turn this to a curve, and then basically you just take this out so that it's straight. You take this out so it's straight, and there you've got a nice, gentle curve. And we can decide, and you can make this smooth, and it turns it into a triangle, which means that now it doesn't move to the left and right, it only moves up and down. Isn't that cool? So you can do it like something like that, and maybe a little bit more. Looks a little bit like a butter knife. Yeah. And we can decide later if we want to like turn this out so that like there's a little for right now, I think we're going to leave it at that. And so Jesse, why don't you come on up here so you're on camera? Like, you've barely been on camera, and I know that they're complaining about that because we know who everybody watches for. Do we not? Anyway, so yeah, we're at 6:56. You know what? Something else I haven't done? I have not looked at the stream at all, or the comments.
Oh, I've been keeping up. I've been chatting with people.
Well, that's good. Somebody needs to, but here.
All my tip-tap typing has been to comment.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling up YouTube. There we are. I'm looking at YouTube.
Well, hello.
Okay, Kara's tincture. Danielle, why aren't you here? Danielle is here, or Danielle is coming for Kopikon.
Oh, I believe that Danielle had said something about being tired from traveling, and so maybe that was a different commenter. I don't know.
Well, here, I put up one of those. Well, anyway, Danielle, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. But yeah, it has been... Okay, hold on a sec. How do you make the things go down?
What things?
Oh, hey, I see what they're commenting on. They're commenting on, what's that book I just said? It's the
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I haven't read that one.
You know, it very suddenly got dark in here.
Yeah, it did. It's nighttime here in LangTime land. Anyway, so yeah. By the way, for those who are here, we're gonna break and go get some food at a place that once we see it, it'll be like, okay, now we're gonna know where we're going tomorrow. So, anyway, yeah. So I guess this is going to conclude our LangTime Live.
Woohoo! We survived.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Well, I'm grabbing my computer because it's got the end stream clearly up and ready.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, true.
So there we go.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we did something. By the way, I might have to. I might have to make.
You're gonna play with it later. It's fine.
I might make it more dramatic. Something like, okay, I know. Hold on.
You just
I know.
started us to break, and then you took it away.
I know.
Oh my! Don't do that.
Sorry. Don't worry. Hold on. See, because I didn't need that note. Right now I can
Okay.
move it in, but you see where I'm. I know. But you see what I'm saying? Like Christian Tallman once told me in his very we're gonna call it continental Western European way, that like if you're going to have a dip in there, you probably should make it dramatic and not as subtle as what I had done. Anyway, so probably next time that will be what's going to happen. Anyway,
Okay,
sorry,
so-
I
so
was
I
just
think
looking
we're
at it.
good.
I had
Yes.
to mention it. All right.
But yeah, last minute.
Yes.
This is last minute of the stream, and as commenters are noting, yes, Kopikon is indeed tomorrow, and so we hope to see you all in the comments tomorrow. Thank you in advance to all of our patrons who are moderators for
Yep.
us for the day, because we're going to do our best to monitor
Bunch of randos
YouTube.
in the stream.
But it will just be up and running for about 10 hours. And so thank you in advance to all of our patron moderators, and of course to all
wait.
of our live patrons who
Wait.
are here.
Oh, and
Kobe
let's-
can't wait. Yes, Karis.
Yeah. Oh, and also for those who don't watch the stream who are here, we have another thing. We have an expression, and I don't remember where it came from. The thing that we usually end the stream with.
Stay Grammar.
Where did it come from?
I feel like it was actually from one of the podcasts.
It was like
I think it was LangTime Chat when.
Someone said grammar is cool, and then
Stay cool.
Oh, that was
That's
it. That was it. And so so the way we end every stream is by telling everybody stay grammar.
Yes, and indeed. So stay grammar, and we'll see you tomorrow for the coolest day-long event any of us could ask for.
Woo! Bye, everybody.
Bye.